I have to ask one more question and your take on this, which is you're discussing very beautifully how you see the sexual revolution is a horrible impact and how we can start to renew the culture, basically. But we've got to ask. So we did, like you said, Christianity in many ways was ascendant in the United States in the first half of the 20th century. You do have a lot of postmodern thought and, you know, all of the bad fruit of that. So I'm not saying the ideologies were, there weren't horrible ideologies, because there were. But what were Christian families not doing in the mid 20th century that maybe caught them off guard or caught them flat footed? I have to just insert one thing that I can see very clearly, which is the advent of contraception, hormonal contraception, the birth control pill, early 20th century. And Christian families just adopted it because it's a new technology. Of course, the doctors are telling me it's good for me. And the Catholics kind of did a scramble and they're like, okay, we got to have a teaching on this. So we have Humanae vitae. And it says, I mean, it was always, the Christendom was always against contraception, but specifically to note, this is bad, like remind people, because there was confusion because the new technologies are so exciting. The doctors are, you know, science is telling us whatever they think they're telling them. But I think it's getting caught flat footed at the crisis of the moment, not being in a posture of readiness. And it's like the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and you're not ready for it. And so they literally take over the entire home. And would you say would you agree that was part of it? Or what would you say is the source of the
embrace of contraception as normative cannot be overly emphasized as wreaking the destruction of the family. Everything that Pope Paul VI in his Humanae vitae said, everything he said came true, even worse than he said. So if there's an argument for that being a prophetic document, forgive me, just read what he said was going to happen. It all happened. In my world, in the Orthodox world, contraception and its forbiddance is as ancient as the church. In fact, in that volume, I have a whole chapter dedicated to Chrysostom's teaching on contraception.
Even the first Protestants were anti-contraception.
Absolutely, for hundreds of years.
We all were.
For hundreds of years until 1931.
Everything
100%.
changed, yeah.
And it was a lack of adherence, a lack of proper instruction and adherence to the teaching of the church. No one suggested that the church taught otherwise. Chrysostom is very clear. All of the major forms of contraception today, spermicidal things, barrier methods, chemical treatments, they all have ancient precedents. Chrysostom was very familiar with ancient gynecologies. I mean, the whole books, which we still have in Greek and in Latin, that describe in great detail this, and it was strictly forbidden by Christians, strictly forbidden. The embrace of contraception has absolutely decimated us because it's taken the miracle of marriage, which unites all of these things together so mystically in God's wisdom, and it has broken them in pieces. So marriage does incredible things. It takes desire and it unifies it with sex. This is a huge problem in our culture today because desire and sex have been disconnected. There is a catastrophic increase of autoeroticism, of masturbation, which is a plague in our time.
Right. So it's like sex is not only not procreative, it's not unitive.
It's not unitive. It has nothing to do even with driving you to another human being. It's turned in on yourself. So marriage addresses that initially, right? You have desire and you have sexual union. You have sexual union combined in marriage with love. You have love designed also and impacted with commitment. You have commitment defined by God by lifelong fidelity. It's an indissoluble union that also includes children and parents and family life. All of those things together are bound up in marriage. So if you mess with marriage, any aspect of marriage, you are literally wreaking havoc on an entire society, on something that binds the society together. You can't just take bits and pieces. And what we've done is we've just completely shattered all of those things.
Do you think no fault does? A lot of people, especially in those sort of more right-wing conservative sides, say, well, no fault divorce. That was the end of the road. That destroyed everything because everyone just got divorced willy-nilly.
Societal compromises that have led to the destruction of normal human behavior in life and family life. Absolutely. And it's a great grief that the first state to embrace no-fault divorce was our state in 1969, and
Hollywood.
that under Governor Reagan. And Reagan, forgive me, I like Reagan.
Reagan legalized abortion in California.
He also was the first divorced president we ever had in the United States. And forgive me, President Trump is the first twice divorced president we've ever had in this country. So if we're looking to our Republican leadership to be champions of family life, I'm sorry, you need to look someplace else. You need to look to Christ. You need to look to the church. Because in society, we are in a terrible way in these ways. 100%. Contraception, no-fault divorce, the legalization of sodomy.
That's a controversial one.